Everybody, it's Andres Fuentes, the host of the Hummingbird Recordings. I'm here with Lorena Quiroz, Executive Director of the Immigrant Alliance for Justice and Equity, and Rose Rodriguez, somebody we haven't talked to before here. Um, and the conversation or the topic we really want to hit today would be, we just started 2024, it's just a few days in, and there's a lot in store for IAJE. Lorena, can you talk a little bit about really what we're looking forward to and then Raj's involvement too?
Right. Hello, everybody. Lorena Quiroz in Jackson, Mississippi. Very excited to be here. Thank you, Andres. Thank you, Raj. We are in our building. We are back at 406 West Fortification. We are right smack in the middle of Jackson. It did take us 7 long months, but we're back in our building. We had to, 6 months ago when you interviewed us, and you actually came and took some recordings. Our roof was lifted off our building, and then subsequent storms hit our building, which caused extensive damage, not only to the building, but also to our furniture, our TVs, our alarms. And it's been long, it's been, sad at times, but we're back in. Um, and we're happy that we're here. So all of this is actually happening at a perfect time because it's the beginning of the year. And we're planning a grand opening February 10th. So everybody, please stay tuned. February 10th, 2024, Saturday, 2 to 4. And we are going to have as our special guest our dear Roch Rodriguez, which is about to speak to all of you. But just a little story. So I know Raj because of his wife, and I don't have a lot of Latina female leaders in Mississippi. I was in California and I saw four beautiful women laughing loudly, and I went straight to them and I just sat there. And I just looked at all of them and they started to talk to me, and I introduced myself because that's what I did. I love women. I love brown women. I love women. And I just, that energy to have other Latina speaking Spanglish, Inglés y Español. And I introduced myself and I met his wife, Lourdes. And we started talking about this project, Nuestra Mississippi, and how I really wish we had a Latino, someone that understood immigrant communities, someone who understood those intersections of being like ni de aquí, ni de allá. And she said, my husband. And so it was perfect. It was meant to be. And I contacted Raj and Raj jumped on it. So grand opening, February 10th, Nuestro Mississippi, the story of 20 leaders is going to be showcased. And we're going to have Raj to talk to us about it on that day, because the grand opening is going to happen either at the end of the summer or the beginning of the fall at the Mississippi Museum of Art. So the Mississippi Museum of Art is going to have the pictures of 20 leaders throughout the entire state at the Grant foyer, right? As soon as you enter, you're going to see the faces of Latino leaders, indigenous people from Guatemala, from Nicaragua, from Cuba, from Ecuador, from Honduras, third generations Latinos in Mississippi. And they're going to share why this is our Mississippi. And this is the amazing person that's going to capture those faces. He's also going to share some of his work, which is why I said we must have Raj, because when I opened up his book, I started to cry when I saw, like Raj, I've told you this, like I immediately, when I saw those pictures, I was like, that's my people. And I just can't wait till people from Mississippi are showcased in such a dignified and beautiful way. And so I'm gonna, let Raj take it from here.
Thank you very much, Lorena. Andres, thank you so very much for the opportunity to partake in your podcast. So yes, long story short, I count my blessings that I've I've worked that much harder than what was expected of me growing up in Houston, Texas. I just simply refused from the get-go. I did not want to become another statistic. So I applied myself academically, socially, because I love people. I love to be part of a community, of a neighborly community, and just to give a little backtrack, I'm originally from Houston, Texas, but I moved to New York City in 2000 to pursue photography and film. got established, met my wife, started a family, really launched my career. But by living and working in New York City, I was missing my cultural identity, right? But there I was in one of the meccas of the world, New York City, where never before in my life have I ever found myself in one given place with so many different cultural people. I was on the one train in one of the cars, and I was just observing, looking around, I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. Every person there in that car, that one car alone, was from like different countries, and I loved it. So that started to in a sense, wake the sleeping giant that was inside of me, because I grew up in a very tough neighborhood. It was really tough growing up, where you had to suppress your cultural identity. You don't want to advertise too much that you're this or that, because you don't want to be singled out. So I grew up with that, right? Uh, Early on, never knowing why. But then as a child, I mean, of course, it's how do you navigate such a terrain as a kid? But you figure it out. Okay, you do what you got to do, not cause any waves or draw attention. But moving to New York City became a blessing in disguise on so many levels. So I need to recharge my batteries. I was kind of, I felt like New York City was asking too much of me. So I wanted to hit pause on New York City and do something creatively. I'm a photographer. I'm a storyteller. Let me go find my story. What is my story, right? Where am I from? So I started this, what was supposed to be a one-time visit to Mexico, spanned over 11 years, right? From 2005 until 2016. And then from there, it evolved into a book, right? So, but why Mexico? Because my family would take us to Mexico on summer breaks, vacations, and so forth. And by going there, I immediately appreciated and loved the amistad. Everybody was friendly. Everybody spoke Spanish. Nobody was hiding where they're from. The whole "there's always room at the table" mentality was amazing, right? So that stayed with me, and I'm like, yes, this is how people should be living, right? And then so, but when it was time to come back from vacation, you're like, oh, Greg, I got to go back, and hide in this shell. You had to turtle up, and suppress that. So I'm glad that pain stayed with me as a kid. So wanting to recharge my batteries, I'm like, okay, let me go to Mexico and just do this one trip, and that'll be that. But that woke something up inside of me, right? And then, you know, and then over the span of 11 years, going back to Mexico, countless trips, I would go everywhere, fly into one town, rent a car, and just go to the next. And I would hit all the little pueblitos in between. Excuse me. But on each trip, I would chip away at the shell that I created, to suppress my cultural identity. And I found my voice, I found my identity, I found my purpose, I found my people, I found my community, I found my passion. And so, and also I wanted to elevate the subject matter on such a platform that I felt it deemed respect, dignity, awareness. So every portrait in that project, in that book, Mi Sangre, is testament of me introducing myself to these, for the most part, random strangers that I'd meet or be introduced to, and I would explain what it was I was doing. I'm retracing. I'm trying to find out where I'm from, right? Where my family's from. My mom's from Guanajuato, and my dad was first generation, born here in Texas, but his family's from Puebla. And so it's kind of like I'm rediscovering something that I didn't know I had to discover. And so after I explained myself to the people I want to photograph, they were now like, yes, we appreciate what you're doing. It would be our honor to be part of your journey. So that was part of the whole process. And so yeah, it became, something that I had no idea was going to become. Uh, that body of work is in 6 museums across the states, right? In the permanent collections. I've done exhibitions. It's become a book. It's been mentioned in the New York Times, and it's in the hands of the chair of the National Endowment of the Arts, Dr. Maria Rosario Jackson, and also in the hands of Adam Silvia, who's one of the head photography curators at the Library of Congress, right? And most recently, I've been personally invited by the Bill Clinton Presidential Library in Little Rock, Arkansas, to present my body of work, my book, at this year's Hispanic Heritage Month in October. So dates still to be announced, So, but once it's locked down and official, then I'll happily blast it out. So my point is, wow, not bad for a poor Mexican kid from the barrio.
Yeah.
Never would have ever imagined that, one, I would have made it out of Houston. Two, go to New York, and actually spend almost 20 years there, living and working. And then, so I found my purpose, right? And so
Can I ask you this real quick?
yes.
You've done so much, and I really want to know what you'll be doing here in Mississippi with the Immigrant Alliance for Justice and Equity, and what people can expect when they go to our open house and they actually get to meet this amazingly talented photographer.
uh, uh, most what I hope to accomplish is for them to meet me. I am just like them. I have we have similar lived experiences, you know, um, if not directly, indirectly, with family members, with friends, with neighbors. So it was an honor to shoot this project for Lorena and the Mississippi Humanities Council, to not only bring a voice but to bring a face to these amazing communities with their amazing leaders, right? And to really capture that essence of who they are, right? This is their Mississippi, right? They are there. They are invested in the community, to be a part of it, to contribute, right? To be part of this whole success story, right? But I know too how sometimes they can feel unseen, unheard, right? So when Lorena reached out to me, of course I jumped on the chance, because now it's my duty, right? I don't see this as a project. I see this as an honor, like a duty, my obligation to give this project 200%, right? Because that's where my heart is, right? And then when I meet these individuals, I blend in, they accept me as one of their own, because that only enhances the authenticity in their character and who they are, right? So I'm treating them with that approach, with us, just simple respect and appreciation for who they are, what they're doing,
And
right, for this community. So for the opening, right, I would like I'm gonna bring some prints that I'm gonna print myself, and Lorena and her team, they're gonna help frame, because when they show up, I want them to see them on that level, right, on that caliber of quality that they always deserve.
I just want to say that, Raj, that is so So perfectly said, and I think that when we talked about art and photography, some of the partners that were in the room were like, well, a good photographer captures the essence, even if he doesn't speak the language. And I was like, no, 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 no. Right? Like we need someone to understand the nuances of migration, of immigration, the sacrifices. I think I don't want to speak for Andres, but I saw his face when you were talking about not bad from a poor kid from El Barrio. Like, same here. From El Barrio, Nueva York. That's where I set foot. I'm actually from El Barrio, Harlem.
All right.
So, like, I think that just resonates so deeply. And I don't know if you know, so I accompany Raj in a couple of these things. So I got to like see him in action, speak Spanish, speak to the kids. I took my own pictures catching him. But Raj, you don't know this, that while you were taking pictures, your the models, I don't know how you say it in the photography language, right? They were sending me pictures. They were like, oh, he's here. Oh, he's a lot of fun. Look at this. So I got pictures of them taking pictures of you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool. But I just wanted to share that like folks, they felt what you were trying to put out there, Raj. I don't know if we have like 1 minute. I know we're gonna be on YouTube. Can I share the screen for 1 minute? Like hold me to that minute.
Yeah.
Okay, because I wanna show this right quick. Um, and this is I know we're gonna be on podcast, so those are on podcast, please look for us on YouTube, Mississippi Hummingbird Stories. But this is some of Raj's work. Um, and it's so beautiful. And this is from the book Mi Sangre. And we have the pictures that Raj sent out to us, both in black and white and in color.
Mhm.
And this is what, like, I was like, this has to be the person that comes. I mean, lucha libre, ¿quién no creció con lucha libre? Like little, and the faces of our community. So I just wanted to share for those of us. This was very impactful. There's the close-ups and how you see our elders, beautiful browned faces, and
Yes.
the wrinkles. Like I feel, or I think, or at least you let your audience know, feel or think that they're feeling what you're feeling. That's what I'm like. I know this is what he saw. I think of my tias, I think of
Yeah.
my abuelita, and that's what I got. And I knew that you could bring that out. So I'm just gonna stop sharing right quick, holding myself to that minute.
Just real quick, the whole approach was this, for me, was very transcendent, right? Growing up, respect your elders. They are wise. Okay, they have knowledge. Okay, so I've always held them with such revere. And for the youth, there's like the whole, you know, uh, twinkle in their eyes. So I was very fortunate to meet a lot of wise, beautiful elders and very innocent, playful youth in my journeys. So I saw myself. And in a nutshell, real quick, everyone, is that this project, Mi Sangre, wound up turning out to be an apology letter to my childhood, and it's become a love letter to my kids, and I'm very proud to mention that I'm very fortunate to be married to my wife, Dr. Lourdes Rodriguez, who's, if not the fiercest patriot I've ever met. She's from Puerto Rico, and I'm very proud for her on what she's accomplished in her life. She's the CEO of the David Rockefeller Fund in New York City. So she's a very you know she's amazing, and I'm glad that she knows her worth in the industry and in this, in this world. So I'm very lucky that I've surrounded myself with amazing people along my journey, and I'm still on that journey. And I'm glad to have met, a lot of the people there in Mississippi, and I plan to come back for the grand opening and start the second leg of the continuation of this project, Nuestra Mississippi. So yes, it's going to be a very impactful, right? A very impactful exhibit.
Yeah.
I guess in closing, what would you say to people? And I get this question, me being a journalist, what would you say to the youth or people who aspire to be in your position one day? What would you say to them in order to them to actually fulfill and fill your shoes one day?
Yeah. I like what I tell my kids, and anything that they do, don't half-ass it. Okay, I'm gonna call a spade for what it is, right? There's enough stupidity out there in the world. Why contribute to it? Rise above, right? And us being people of color, we have to work twice as hard. Okay, we have to go to the moon and back to prove our worth amongst our peers, right? Because it does take a village, but guess what? It takes ganas, it takes bolas to like really say, okay, you know what? I need to do what needs doing, right? I put in the hard work, but I stayed dedicated. I stayed focused. So it's, like they say, hard work pays off, and, blood, sweat, and tears, literally. I was the first one to leave the family nest from Houston to go to New York City, where sadly enough, I had everyone in my life except for my mother um, make me doubt. Right? They were like, "New York City, really? Who do you think you are?" Blah 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 blah. But my mom said, "Me, he'll go for it," and I went for it, and there I am, got established. Okay, for me to prove to myself that I did not let myself get disillusioned or distracted and whatever. So telling the youth, it's the future is there, right? You're writing it now. You're putting the code in now, so that way, because there's two people, there's two versions of you in the future. One that put in the hard work, right? And the one that wish that they made that decision at that point to get to where they want, right? So there's two parallels, right? Which path, right? So it's I just want to encourage, okay, that anything can be accomplished, really. Okay, there are no limitations. Okay, know your worth. Okay, and surround yourself with people that will reinforce that. Okay, so it just success begets success. Okay. And also, I found my voice as an adult, right? I am proud to be Mexicano, Americano, I'm Mexican American, I'm Latino, you name it, right? And I wear it on my sleeve, literally. Okay.
So for those that are listening to us, Raj just stood up and showed us his t-shirt. Yeah, and it's a mask, the
Blue
Lucha
Demon,
Libre,
Lucha
huh?
Libre, Lucha
Lucha
Libre, Blue
Libre.
Demon.
Oh, okay, awesome. But I know I just want to, Andres, do you mind if I mention some of our folks? How many, do we have a minute?
Yeah, we have time. Raj, just thank you so much for your time. I think Loretta wants to
Un
send us
placer.
away with her final messages.
So in this work, we have the Mississippi Humanities Council supporting us. They're the main funders. We IAJE, the Immigrant Alliance for Justice and Equity. We also are partnering with the Mississippi Museum of Art. We've spoken to other museums. Also, Sip Culture has agreed to partner with us, and so and also Alternate Roots, which are some and the People's Advocacy Institute. So these are some folks that are going to be supporting. I just wanted to mention them because they're going to be there on February 10th. They're so excited to meet you, Raj. I know that he
Likewise.
has also a loteria coming up. I just wanted to mention our partners in the work and the folks that are listening. If you guys want to partner up, our end goal is a book just like the one that Raj produced by Raj and IAJE to highlight some of these leaders. So we want to create a book out of this. It's just the beginning. And I'm going to share this podcast with Maria Hinojosa, who, has visited us twice before, and see if we can get her to join us and see if, what she has to say. She's been an awesome supporter of Mississippi and the work that's happening here. So thank you for that
Awesome.
time. Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, just to clarify real quick, it's my first name is Rogelio. but Raj, ROJ, has become my stage name. So that's become my my moniker out in the scene. ROJ, Raj.
Well, thank you guys all for your time, and we'll see everybody come February.
All right. Bye-bye, y'all.